This time has above all reminded William and me to reflect and be grateful for the simple yet important things in life, which so many of us often take for granted.
For centuries, royal women of the British monarchy have been taught one unbreakable rule: never cry in public. Yet at the memorial ceremony for Queen Elizabeth II, millions of television viewers were stunned into silence when Princess Catherine, the woman always seen as perfect poised and the new pillar of the royal family, suddenly broke down in tears right in front of the live cameras. What shocked the entire nation wasn't just those tears, but what happened afterward. A royal guardsman broke centuries of protocol to step forward and offer her a handkerchief. For the first time, the famous emotional reserve of the British royal family seemed to crumble before the eyes of the world. Inside the palace, royal advisors began to worry. Had Catherine just committed the greatest taboo of the monarchy? And what could have driven her to break every long-standing rule and cry openly in public? London, April 21st, 2026. Wellington Arch stood tall and imposing on Constitution Hill, where millions of British citizens and visitors had gathered from every corner of the country. This was the National Memorial Ceremony marking the 100th anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's birth, an event of immense national significance broadcast live to billions of viewers worldwide. The atmosphere was solemn, almost suffocating. Members of the royal family stood in perfect formation on the dignitaries' platform. Prince William stood rigidly at attention, shoulders, broad gaze, fixed straight ahead. Beside him was Princess Catherine, known affectionately to the world as Kate. She wore an elegant pale lavender coat, her hair neatly pinned up her lips, curved in the prescribed polite smile. Millions of eyes were fixed on her, the symbol of perfection, of quiet strength that the monarchy so desperately needed in this turbulent era. Since stepping into the royal family 2 decades earlier, Catherine had learned to hide every emotion. She had smiled through surgeries, through cruel rumors, through moments of serious health decline. Perfection is duty was the first lesson she received from the royal advisors. And today she stood there once again in her role as a devoted wife, a model mother, and the public face of the monarchy. The ceremony proceeded smoothly in its opening minutes. Everything followed the cold, precise script the British royal family had maintained for hundreds of years. Then suddenly, amid the resounding strains of the British national anthem, a different piano melody rose from the large speakers. Catherine startled slightly. Her shoulders trembled. She tried to hold her posture straight, biting her lower lip, but her usually bright and resolute eyes began to glisten with tears. Her gloved white hand clutched the edge of her coat as if seeking an invisible anchor. Millions watching on screens saw every detail clearly. The princess was struggling to suppress something profound rising within her. "It can't be!" A stunned whisper rose from the VIP seating and quickly spread through the crowd. Just seconds later, Catherine could hold back no longer. A single tear rolled down her powdered cheek. Then 2, then 3. She bowed her head slightly, her shoulders shaking harder. Tears flowed freely, wetting her cheeks. The face that had graced thousands of magazine covers with its radiant smile, the face once praised as the smile of Britain, now revealed raw, unmasked pain. The entire square seemed to hold its breath. Television cameras zoomed in tightly, broadcasting the moment live across the globe. Murmurs spread like wildfire through the crowd. People watching at home in Britain covered their mouths in disbelief. Millions of comments flooded in. "Princess Catherine is crying. This is the first time in years. What is happening to the royal family?" "My heart hurts," a female BBC commentator, her voice trembling with emotion, said live on air. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing a moment unprecedented in modern history. Princess Catherine, she cannot contain her emotions. These are not tears of weakness. This is something very deep, very human. Prince William turned slightly toward his wife, his eyes filled with concern, yet he maintained composure according to tradition. George and Charlotte stood beside their mother, the two children looking bewildered, their eyes glistening. Charlotte gently tugged at her mother's coat and whispered in a worried child's voice, "Mummy, are you okay? Please don't cry." Catherine did not answer immediately. She only wiped her tears hastily, but the more she wiped, the more they fell. The moment lasted only a few dozen seconds, yet it was enough to send shockwaves through Britain and the world. The British people had always taken pride in their royal family, the symbol of resilience and unbroken tradition. They were accustomed to polite smiles, distant waves, and faces that never revealed emotion. Yet today, the most beloved woman in the family was crying in public. Not in private, not behind closed doors, but right in the middle of the most solemn memorial ceremony, before millions of eyes. Why was she crying? No one knew the answer yet. But everyone felt it. This was not an ordinary media mishap. This was a true historic moment. A single tear had shattered the icy shell of royal protocol that had existed for centuries, forcing an entire nation to pause and reflect. Just how powerful must the reason have been for Princess Catherine to break the rule and cry before the crowd? Going back to the days after the wedding of the century, between Prince William and Catherine, behind the thick stone walls and cold protocols of Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and Balmoral, Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Catherine had built a special, profound bond that very few in the royal family or the public ever knew about. It was not a superficial relationship between grandmother-in-law and granddaughter-in-law, but a deep understanding and empathy between two women who carried the heavy burden of the crown across two generations. The Queen, who had reigned for more than 70 years, witnessing everything from the aftermath of World War II to the brutal age of social media, had always seen Catherine as a daughter of her own blood. She saw in Catherine the reflection of Princess Diana's natural grace, a warm smile, infinite patience, and the ability to endure pressures the public could never imagine. Catherine had entered the royal family at a very young age. She had to learn to live under 24/7 flashbulbs, to smile even on days when her health was failing to be perfect, every single second in front of the cameras. Catherine the Queen had once whispered on a chilly autumn afternoon at Balmoral Castle when her own health had begun to decline noticeably. The two women sat alone by the fireplace. The Queen's voice was hoarse but full of affection. "The monarchy needs you to be strong, but you are also human. Do not let the crown crush your heart. I have seen too many people fall because they suppressed their feelings for too long, even within our own family." Catherine held the Queen's hand tightly, tears welling in her eyes, but still trying to hold them back out of habit. Her voice trembled. "Your Majesty, I try every day. Being a wife, a mother to 3 children, a princess before millions of eyes. Sometimes, I just want to cry alone, without fear of being seen, without fear of photographs, without fear of judgment on social media. I'm afraid I will disappoint you and William." The Queen smiled gently, her aged eyes shining with deep understanding. She squeezed Catherine's hand tighter. "Then remember my words today. Tears are not always a weakness. I have lived my whole life within constraints, but I do not want you to suffer as I did. I will leave you something. When you need it most, it will remind you that you are allowed to be yourself." And the Queen kept her promise. In her final months, when few knew, she quietly prepared one last gift exclusively for Catherine. It was a small, exquisite silver music box, meticulously crafted by the finest royal jewelers. Inside was not an ordinary melody, but a piece composed by the Queen herself during her sleepless final nights, lullaby for a future queen. The gentle, poignant notes carried the heartfelt wishes of an elderly grandmother her love, empathy, and hope for the woman who would one day shoulder the future of the monarchy. She had summoned her most trusted aide to her bedside. Her voice weak but remarkably resolute, the Queen instructed clearly, "When Catherine needs it most, let this music play. It is my final message to her. Do not let the girl hide her emotions forever. Our royal family needs to change, and I believe she will be the one to lead the way. This is my last gift." Catherine knew nothing of this secret plan. After the Queen's passing, she steeled herself through the immense pain of loss. The years that followed were filled with brutal challenges, raising 3 children under constant public scrutiny, supporting her husband in an increasingly heavy role as heir facing countless malicious rumors, harsh criticisms, and private health struggles she had to keep hidden. She continued to smile radiantly in public, remaining perfect in every appearance. But deep inside, Catherine often wondered during long nights, did she have enough strength to continue? Was there anyone who understood the loneliness behind that smile? That music, the warm piano melody the Queen had once played for her in private afternoons, had been secretly arranged to play exactly at the 100th anniversary memorial of the Queen's birth. It was the final message from a great queen to the daughter-in-law she loved most. When the first piano notes rose at Wellington Arch, Catherine recognized it instantly. It was not merely music. It was the Queen's voice, her final warm embrace, the empathy Catherine had suppressed for 2 decades. And that was why before millions of eyes, Princess Catherine could no longer hold back. The first piano notes echoing through Wellington Arch felt like a sudden river of memories rushing in, sweeping away every layer of composure Catherine had built over 20 years. She recognized it immediately. This was the late Queen, encouraging the future Queen. Catherine's shoulders shook harder. She tried to bite her lip, but the tears could no longer be contained. 1 tear rolled down her powdered cheek, then 2, then 3. She lowered her head slightly, her shoulders trembling visibly. Tears flowed freely, wetting her cheeks. The face once praised as a symbol of resilience and grace now showed completely genuine, unhidden sorrow. Prince William stood beside her, allowing his wife to cry. It was the only thing he could do in that moment. He did not force her to stop for the sake of the royal image. The entire square fell silent in an instant. Millions watching live around the world seemed to hold their breath at the same time. Television cameras zoomed tightly on her face, broadcasting live across the planet. No one dared speak. This was a moment without precedent in modern royal history. A princess known for perfection was crying in public. At the most tense second, a royal guardsman standing closest, who was supposed to remain motionless like a stone statue, according to centuries-old protocol, suddenly stepped out of formation. He dropped to one knee, holding out a pristine white handkerchief neatly folded in both hands. The action completely shattered the rules. The entire platform and crowd gasped in shock. Whispers erupted everywhere, spreading like wildfire. Catherine lifted her head. Her eyes were red, but shone with profound gratitude. She gently accepted the handkerchief, wiped her tears, and smiled through them. That smile was not forced, not theatrical. It was the smile of a mother, a wife, and a woman grieving truly. "Thank you," Catherine said softly, her voice trembling, but clear enough for the nearby microphone to capture and broadcast around the world. "You did something very brave. Thank you so much." The guardsman raised his head, his deep voice filled with emotion. "Your Royal Highness, we are all with you. Not just today, but every day." That moment spread like a tidal wave of emotion. British people watching on TV everywhere burst into applause. Many could not hold back their own tears. On social media, worldwide comments poured in like a flood. The royal family finally knows how to cry. That handkerchief is worth more than the crown. Kate, you are not alone. We are here with you. But what moved the world most had not yet ended. Catherine turned to her two children, standing beside her in bewilderment. Prince George, now a tall teenager, had glistening eyes and was trying to maintain his posture, but was clearly deeply moved. Princess Charlotte clung tightly to her mother's hand, her small face showing clear worry and sadness. Catherine took a step forward, unconcerned by the millions of eyes upon her. She grasped George's hand firmly with her right hand, squeezing it as if passing on strength. With her left arm, she pulled Charlotte close, hugging both children tightly, right there in the square before millions of spectators. There was no longer any royal distance, no cold protocol. "Mummy, are you all right?" George asked quietly, his young voice trying to sound strong but still trembling. "I'm here with you." Catherine squeezed her son's hand, smiling through her tears, her voice gentle. "I'm okay, my son. Your great-grandmother is here in our hearts. She wants us to be strong, but she also wants us to be ourselves." Charlotte buried her face in her mother's chest and whispered in a choked child's voice, "I love you, Mummy. Don't cry anymore. But if you need to cry, I'll be right here with you." William stood nearby, initially surprised by royal habit. But then he stepped forward, placed a warm hand on his wife's shoulder, squeezed gently, and wrapped his arms around all three. That little family stood close together in the chilly London autumn wind. Not distant prince and princess on a ceremonial platform, but a real family, capable of love pain and embracing one another before the entire world. The square erupted in thunderous applause. Cheers echoed across Constitution Hill. Older people in the crowd wiped away tears, whispering to one another, "They are just like us. They are human too." International broadcasters interrupted their programs to air the moment live. From New York to Tokyo, from Sydney to Paris, people everywhere felt the miraculous power of a royal family changing right before their eyes. Catherine's actions were not merely personal emotion in a single moment. They were a quiet but powerful declaration the British royal family no longer had to be perfect statues. They were allowed to grieve. They were allowed to love openly. They were allowed to be human. As the music faded on its final poignant notes, Catherine wiped her tears one last time, lifted her head high, and smiled at the entire audience. That smile carried both sorrow and fresh hope. She held her children's hands, and together with William, they stepped down from the platform amid endless applause that continued for many minutes. That moment was etched into history, not because of lavish rituals or glittering crowns, but because a princess dared to cry, dared to hug her children in the public square, and dared to show the world her true heart. Britain and the world understood clearly a new chapter for the monarchy had truly begun. After the historic moment at Wellington Arch, nothing in the British royal family would ever be the same. The wave of emotion from Princess Catherine's tears spread across the world and became the catalyst for profound change never before seen in the modern history of the monarchy. In the days that followed, Buckingham Palace was abuzz. Emergency meetings were convened. Some senior members shook their heads in concern, believing protocol had been broken and centuries-old traditions were at risk. But the younger generation, led by Prince William and Princess Catherine, saw it as the necessary opportunity. Catherine became the center of global attention. Millions of letters and messages poured in from British citizens and people around the world. Single mothers wrote, "Thank you for daring to cry. You gave me the courage to be real with my children." Young people struggling with work pressure and social media sent thanks. "You showed us that perfection is not everything." Catherine read every letter, her eyes growing red again this time, with happy emotion. Just a few weeks after the event, concrete changes began to appear. The rigid rule of never show emotion in public was officially relaxed. Younger royals were permitted to share personal feelings on social media. public engagements became warmer, less scripted, filled with more laughter and hugs. Catherine led most strongly. She launched a series of mental health campaigns, openly speaking about her own journey through pressure and illness. In a special interview broadcast widely, Catherine sat beside William, her voice warm yet resolute. That day at Wellington Arch, I could not hold back. The Queen's music. It reminded me that we are only human. We feel pain, we remember, we love. If we hide everything, we lose our connection with the very people we serve. William held his wife's hand tightly and nodded. I have never been prouder of you. You are not just a princess, you are the one who dared to change things from within. The effect spread rapidly. Princess Charlotte began appearing more often with her natural childlike smile no longer shy. Prince George openly shared his passion for sports and the joys and struggles of royal teenage life. Even King Charles, in a surprise speech, acknowledged, "Perhaps the time has come for our hearts to guide us more alongside reason and tradition." What the world remembers most was not the lavish ceremonies or grand palaces. It was the moment a woman dared to cry before millions of eyes dared to hug her children in the public square and dared to show that the royal family feels love and pain just like any ordinary family. From then on, the image of the British royal family transformed. They were no longer distant statues in the newspapers. They became closer, more human, and more modern. Tourism to Britain surged that year. People no longer only revered the crown. They loved the real human beings behind it. Polls showed royal approval ratings reaching their highest level in decades. Catherine became the symbol of a new royal generation, one that dared to live authentically. She often said in meetings, "A single tear does not make us weaker. It makes us stronger because it connects us." And Queen Elizabeth II, if looking down from above, was surely smiling with satisfaction. Her final gift, the music and the message delivered through tears, had fulfilled its great mission. One single sincere moment had changed a tradition hundreds of years old. Today, looking back, the British people and the world recognize a simple yet profound truth. The real strength of an institution does not lie in hiding emotions, but in daring to show them. Sometimes, just one tear is enough to open a new chapter, a chapter of compassion, closeness, and a monarchy that truly belongs to the people. The story of Princess Catherine at Wellington Arch will be told for generations to come. Not as a scandal, but as a beautiful lesson in courage and love. According to you, was Princess Catherine's public act of crying a sign of weakness or true courage? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy